Hi, welcome back to Future Fast. And we have, like always, a very interesting guest today. And before I introduce our guest to you, I hope you're enjoying our conversations. And I hope each of you have subscribed to it. If any of you are here for the first time, I urge you to click on the subscription button. And for the rest of you, welcome and thank you for staying on with us and enjoying as much as we are doing, bringing it to you. So, with us today, we have Dr. Taslimarif Saiyed. He is the director and CEO of CCamp, and he's doing some amazing things, and we will hear it from him. So, uh, Taslim, welcome to Future Fast.
Many thanks. Wonderful to be here. Looking forward to our conversation.
Wonderful. So, why don't you take us through to your journey of coming to run CCamp?
Yeah, surely. So, when I look back, it may look long for even for me, but so I have been trained as a neuroscientist. I did my early work in my PhD at Max Planck Institute for Brain Research in Frankfurt, Germany, where I largely was studying how neurons talk to each other at the molecular level and what are the molecular mechanisms that allow the neurotransmission to happen, what are the different ways that the molecular machinery works to allow two neurons to talk to each other, which had the basic components of the way how the neurotransmission works. That took me to my further understanding and my further work at University of California, San Francisco, that is UCSF in California, where I further delved into as a postdoctoral scientist to understand, what are the possible mechanisms in which the neurodegeneration happen, how and what are the mechanisms that lead to neurodegeneration, again at a molecular level, and that brought me to an understanding of how scientific understanding has a larger implication in terms of understanding the disease, as well as possible ways you can intervene once you understand the mechanisms of occurrence of a disease, how you can come in and make intervention and go forward. So that actually brought me to a larger, exciting way of thinking on science, that science is a very important way to understand the normal happenings in the world around us, not even humans, but in plant sciences, animal sciences, other ways as well. And then it also allows us to understand what goes wrong in sometimes, and then allows us to build mechanisms to intervene and correct it, or prevent it, and so on. So that is possibly my formative years in terms of being excited about application of science, and where I got excited about possibilities of looking at it from a therapeutic perspective, possibilities of looking at that from a diagnostic perspective, which basic biology researcher while looks at the understanding first. So that was my formative years of that. And that also, again, UCSF is possibly the largest medical school, and it's a big medical hospital in the US, again, which has a humongous presence of innovation building exercise, where many of the such early understandings were taken into innovations and then built into large enterprises, which are building solutions that impact human health and beyond. Genentech, one of the largest biotechs of the world, actually is in a way a spin out of UCSF. So that gives you a kind of a environment that I was blessed to be with in the Bay Area. And that built my broad possible roadmap for what I wanted to do beyond now, which was, with a solid scientific understanding foundation, I wanted to contribute the translation of science from basic research to impactful innovation building, which now I believe much, and add third piece of it is for societal impact. So if I may say, if I divide the growing years and learning years with the career, was this understanding science, then the translation of science into innovations, and now taking innovations for societal impact is my larger picture that I look at. And that has led me to come to, as I was looking to come back to India for reasons, I was looking to come to an organization which has such an alignment of ambition and the ethos and the philosophy that it came. And I was lucky to, align with an institute which was at that time, or as an organization at that time, which was being conceptualized with the support of Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, around the National Center for Biological Sciences at that time. And CCAMP, the Center for Cellular Molecular Platforms, was seen as an organization which worked with both academia and industry as an interface and harness and catalyze high-end research and innovation and taking the science further. I've been around for last 14 odd years here and truly excited by the kind of science and innovation that we possibly have, catalyzed from here and fostered from here. And right now, this is at this time where many of our work is coming to fruition. The earlier work is coming to fruition as we continue. So it's very gratifying to see the societal impact being built and delivered by that. So here I am. This was the brief journey, which I took longer than I was hoping to kind of capture. But this has been a long journey, but I think it has been great to find what excites around science and find an organization. One has to be very lucky, and I find myself very lucky to be able to find opportunities to build what I felt excited about.
So I understand in this field it takes a lot of time to see things materialize. So from that respect, and coming from the kind of institution you were mentioning, uh, do you see you're getting there, and that you're able to make that kind of thing happen? Because I guess you are probably more in the administrative function today. So your role is more of a facilitator. Is that correct, or do you want to talk about what entails your function, your role here?
Once, I think it is significantly management, but we have a translation accelerator as well, which keeps some of my engagement with science very solid. And that is a very important field because that allows us to challenge the science we see on every day, not from ourselves, but others as well. I think unless you are in touch with science, I think it is difficult for us to engage with science that you want to facilitate and support at scale. And so I have a connect on that basis, but of course, management takes away a lot of time, a significant percentage of time. But I think overall, it is a larger ecosystem that we are keen to build on, considering the trajectory we had 10 to 15 years back as an Indian biotech innovation ecosystem, and what we are here. We are on a wonderful change in trajectory that we have had in 10, 15 years. And we believe we are going to directions which are more exciting. Inflection points are just around the corner for us to deliver something globally relevant capabilities from India.
Do you want to give a quick introduction to CCAMP as what exactly CCAMP does or is intended to do?
Surely. So CCAMP, as I mentioned, I think an organization with a mandate to catalyze and foster high-end research and innovation in life sciences. It had a very particular, straight view, and I think it was very good to build that view because otherwise it would disintegrate into other things. It was also envisaged as a standalone organization rather than a part of the organization or connected with the organization. So that gave us a national view on things. And what it does is that it works in three verticals. One of the vertical is technology platforms, where we work with researchers outside and help them with their academic research projects through expertise and the infrastructure that we and our Bangalore Life Science cluster organizations have. Second vertical is to identify breakthrough ideas, risky ideas, and support them through entrepreneurship and innovation. And third is research translation and commercialization, helping the academic research to go all the way towards commercialization. Now, overall, if you see, we are actually, in a way, accelerating and nudging the science at different levels. We are nudging science at the early stage of generation of knowledge generation. We are nudging science at the translation and the innovation stage. And then now we are actually nudging science in the form of product through the deployment for societal impact. So through the value chain of the science generation to the societal impact, CCAM attempts to play a role of an accelerating organization which identifies amazing scientific ideas and help them go to the next level with many resources that we have, many support system we have, and solve problems which are there. Let's say, for example, in healthcare, agriculture, and environment, including animal health as well, by the way. So life science give this very nice a tree for us, which has the branches in healthcare, so human health. You talk about the animal health and agriculture and environment. So we are supporting science, translation, and innovation, and now societal impact in these 4 areas at large. And that way, CCAM now stands to, say that our mission is to foster deep science research and innovation for societal impact. That's where I think that's how we capture CCAM's ethos for now.
Right. How do you see that evolving? Because traditionally, I've been in the startup ecosystem for a long. I've been an entrepreneur also for more than 20, 25 years now. Much of it has been a challenge here because most people's approach has been highly transactional. It's a quick sale, quick monetization. So that is where, we have few products coming out of India, but, it's far and few. We can literally count out of our hands. So how do you see this evolving, particularly when you talk about deep science?
No, I think very well put. And I would say that I think there are possibly we have seen one of the best ideas come forward over years. I think the very wide pan-India approach that we have had has allowed us to attract very good deep science ideas. And of course, those are relative in terms of numbers that you talked about, but still, and support them. So I think there has been some brilliant, over many years now, we have now received, assessed, guided more than 5,000 odd startups in different roles. Wow. And invested and supported 360, 370 startups in general. But if you pick some of them are truly globally, scientifically relevant in terms of what they do. And I can give very quick examples. I'll give you 5, 6, which are possibly at the late stage of their work. So that because they have come through and, now the efforts like Bugworks, which is building a broad spectrum antibiotic for a challenge, silent pandemic as bad as antimicrobial resistance. And they are considered right now one of the top 30 or 39 game-changing innovations across all sectors by CBI Insights and many other. Similarly, we have attempts like in the form of C6 Energy, which is leveraging the power of seaweeds from ocean and ocean farming and converting them to many tremendous products and inputs for agriculture, including for significant crop productive improvement significant prevention of viral diseases and many other products, which is truly remarkable. And both of them are funded internationally. Then we have something in agriculture, environment like string bio, which is shown to convert the global warming gas like methane into peptide proteins and aquafeed and other alternative proteins per se. And there are efforts like you can talk about Pandorum or iStem, which are using stem cells at the frontier of technologies to do vision disorder, interventions and many others. They are really remarkable ideas. And then we have next cohorts also. So this is not one time, but we have next cohort working in immuno-oncology to alternative protein to cell gene therapy and many more. So there have been brilliant ones. Now, if you say that let's possibly compare them with the best of the innovation hubs of the world, and let's say Boston's of the world or the San Francisco or Oxford, Cambridge, Heidelberg, many others which I possibly am not taking the names, where do you stand? I say we stand much closer than we stood possibly 10 years ago. I would like to put it that way. And 10 years down the line, I will say we'll be even much closer than what we are today in terms of the trajectory, because we are actually attempting and building some bold ideas, which were never attempted 10 to 15 years ago at that scale, at least in India. We have an ecosystem that supports that right now, not as well, but I think we will have ecosystem better even future. And all that I mentioned, all names in Excel, there's many more I can mention, actually have a global investors now and global presence that clearly indicates the global, I think, view and global perspectives these innovations are building. In terms of scale, we are not there. Let me admit. Many other geographies would have much higher numbers and attempts at deep science ideas, and they would fail faster. And then they'll come back and try something else because there is availability for such deep science ideas in terms of funding. There's significant funding available. You try something, you fail, you go on. You try something, you fail, you go on. You try something, you fail. One of succeeds, then you take off. I think those numbers are not as high, which is not good, which is something we need to work on, I would say. And that requires high number of our capability to support high number of such ideas. That requires to possibly allow a much more risk-free environment at the early stage and so on. So there are ways to look at it, but I feel still very excited that many have come through, many more are coming on together. So deep science innovation ecosystem is flourishing. It may not be exactly where other geographies are, but the trajectory is exciting enough to look up, and it is going north, according to me.
Well, you did say that I guess only shortcoming you mentioned is perhaps the money or the access to fund to give the scale or the speed to the whole effort. But apart from that, do you see any other challenges going forward for us to get to that top 3 or top 5? I don't know whether you meant top 10, but I'm just trying to push it up.
Why not? Why not? No, I think possibly we are in top 10. Let's
okay.
possibly, yeah, I think without a doubt we are there. And it depends on how one does what, but nonetheless, coming back, there are, and let me be, innovations, the new breakthrough ideas, scientific ideas, strongly rely on how robust your knowledge and early scientific effort is. You cannot have breakthrough ideas. Breakthrough ideas actually are, relying on the shoulders of amazing scientific strength that you have, both in terms of science that has come out as well as scientific community that has been built. And that is something that I believe as a country, we need to continuously support. We need to rather invest more. We possibly do not stand at the same numbers that other geographies invest in early stage science and research. We invest around 0.7% of GDP, of a GDP, that whatever number we have. Many of the large countries or rather, I would say the economically established countries, even though the GDP is higher, they put 2 to 4% of the GDP in the research. And these are not numbers. This is not a difference of 1.3. This is 1.3 of a different scale, right? So what we are talking about is that, and that actually makes the solid base of scientific, environment, that on which basis the breakthrough ideas come out, both in terms of the scientific knowledge and personnel and the individuals who get trained. So I think while this happens, it's very important that the investment in science gradually gets increased, gets to a level where we can actually, and then years of investment. It would not be on the day that they that get announced. It would be years of investment, possibly for a decade or so, would actually lead to now the boiling pot, the cream will start coming out. It will be some time before the cream from the milk will come out, and that will require the flame to be burning at the strength. And the cream, possibly you can see different way. One of the ways is building breakthrough idea-based innovations. That is one of the bigger component for us to work upon as a country.
Well, just a thought, if you were to pitch it to, say, our Prime Minister to give one moonshot, saying you commit $100 billion here, and this is what we will achieve in the next 5 years. Why is it that I don't hear such efforts are being put in much here, right? I mean, unfortunately, politicians and bureaucrats like to have these kind of B hacks in the management term, right? So, do you think it would be possible for you to muster up something like that by getting your community together to say that, okay, let's come up with something really crazy, but which will get the imagination of our politicians to commit $100 billion or something like that?
I think I think we are at the cusp of it to identify and build something and start convincing the thing. The reason of that confidence comes from some of the effort we have done in COVID times, when the times were desperate, the situation was, quite cloudy in a way, and grim. And I think at that time, many of the efforts and many of the things and many of the support got streamlined tremendously, and people came together, right? So I think there is a confidence that if there is a overall support, there is an system which can respond. There cannot be an overnight change in 5 years, I would say. That is not possible. There is a long term in terms of investment. Somewhere there's a mission mode delivery for one thing I can imagine. But we should be in the proximity of it to build something. We cannot be far away on zero and say, now tomorrow you reach to the final goal, because time may not be enough. The structure may not be enough supported for that. We should be in proximity of it, which should be relevant to us, and so on. And I think there are important areas which are relevant to us. According to me, let me count it out for you. Just in terms of areas where we should be making a difference. We should be making a difference in public health big time. According to some numbers, possibly 20 to 30 to 40% people are underserved in terms of public health in India. And if you multiply it by the current population of India, that's a very high number. So there has to be technologies which actually take on the challenges in public health, which doesn't allow it to deliver proper public health support to this large numbers. So understanding those challenges and making a nationwide challenge to build those innovations is a great idea, and that is being done, but could be done in a mission mode way.
And I guess it's necessary as well to do it.
Absolutely necessary, and it's just coming together of that thought and building on it, right? It is being done. Possibly it's done in a component basis at something, but somebody has possibly it comes and converge as a mission on top somewhere, and saying 5 years we should have 10 or 15 innovations that changes the way public health is delivered at the primary healthcare level, largely to semi-urban, rural areas as well as underserved areas within cities. I think that is doable. That you said, let's start it. They should be deployed by this year, and and if they get deployed, this is the difference we are seeing on the ground. So that could be done. That's one. The second number that possibly we don't do very well is maternal child health. We still do the mortality and others that happen. India doesn't rank very well in that. So these are the areas where we can.
But there's been a significant improvement, right? From
There
a
has been.
point where we used to have 5% mortality at
which was very, very sad.
yeah.
And we,
Unfortunately, today those rates are still there in Africa, which is still unfortunate. Anywhere in the world is still bad.
correct. So we need to go a little far, beyond, because I think the problem is that there is a difference between one set of people and the other set of people within India, right? So if we see ourselves, there is a difference, and we need to possibly aim to bring them also in the percentages, right? The percentages are different between two populations or gradually few set or subpopulations that we have. How can we bring them to the mainstream of bringing their percentages down and so, and there could be many. Sorry.
Population below poverty line is almost 300 million, nearing US population.
Correct. So there are many. So this is, from a healthcare perspective, such challenges can be built. And there could be technology-based challenges. What I possibly talked about is intervention from technology and innovation perspective. There could be technology-based challenge which can come. And I think there have been discussions, if I'm not wrong. If I think there have been discussions, there have been attempts. Possibly, I think there is nothing wrong in taking something and making 5 priorities of the country and going after them for a few years, right? And say that we may not get there, but running in that direction will get us somewhere, right? That is the difference of when we are going for frontiers. I think we'll have to have a target which is possibly sounds unachievable, but by running in that direction, there will be a huge delta shift that would happen as a country, where country will get to by running in that direction. In somewhere we'll reach. You never know what you might end up achieving. And that is something we may want to. And I hear that it is being done. If you see, there are several missions which have come out of the Office of PSA and many others. So those, there is quantum mission, there is One Health mission, and so on. And those viewed along with targets will actually get us there.
Well, with that, thank you so much, Dr. Taslim, for making time to share your journey with us, and to the audience and listeners. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And once again, go ahead, share this with your network. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who would find this interesting, particularly among the startup community. And if they're working on biomedical, then obviously this is something they should be following. And also, you have all the links for his organization, that is PCAMP, and also the other links or social handles where you can follow what they're doing right below this podcast. So go ahead and look them up, follow them there. And once again, for those of you who have not yet subscribed to our podcast, this is the time to do that. Click right now and be part of the Future Fast family. And enjoy the ride till we come again next.